Hey everyone, welcome back to the Lovely J podcast. I'm Coco, and today what I'm going to be doing is we're going to cook some barbecue chicken, and at the same time while we're cooking that, I'm going to be talking about Havana syndrome, because that is something that I do believe that I have. Will I ever be diagnosed with it? I don't know, but it's exactly what I believe I have. So meanwhile, let me get up from out of this chair and move into this kitchen. I've already got my stuff pretty much prepped out, and I just got to wipe down a few things and then just get this chicken seasoned, because I didn't season it. But I'm fixing to. I'm going to cook this kind of fast tonight because I'm tired, y'all. I'm very tired. And I need a light bulb in this kitchen. But I'm tired, and I wanted to talk about Havana syndrome because it is something that they say happened in Cuba to some government officials. They was over there, and what happened was some of the government officials were attacked with microwave weapons. Now, it's not actually a microwave, but the weapons do act just like a microwave. Hope y'all can hear me while I'm moving this stuff around. I'll go back over it. Let's see. The weapons do act just like a microwave, and that's why it is considered a danger, and this is why the officials that were hit that day in Cuba, some of them are still trying to recover from it. I'm going to tell you my experience with it. Just as soon as I get this chicken into the oven, which won't take long. But yeah, I ain't doing nothing, y'all. I'm just going to cook this, talk with y'all. And later on tonight, I'm probably going to talk about the elderly abuse. Did not mean to drop this down. Let me get that. Yeah. But once you hear what it is, you may know somebody who has it, or someone who may be going through the same symptoms that I'm going through. It's painful, very painful, and yeah, I'm sorry about the noise, but this is cooking. Very painful. I'm almost done. As soon as I get this in here, I go pull up my little information on it, and we'll talk a little bit about it. Okay. Oh, I wish I had some rice. I have not had rice in a minute, y'all. Ain't that hard to believe? Ain't that hard to believe that I, Coco Belton, have not cooked no rice. Okie dokie. But I got this on. Whew, y'all. I'm sorry if I'm heavy breathing, but ever since the beach trip, I told y'all somebody put something on my head thing, and it smelled like something, some kind of medical rub. And ever since then, I have really been having difficulties with my breathing. And I tried to sing some songs the other night, and last night, and the night before, and my wind was barely pushing. So they know how to really slow somebody down, or make me sick and try to make it look like it's a natural sickness. Okay, so let's go on with this Havana syndrome thing. So it's I just want to read to you what it's about first, because a lot of people do not believe in this, and some people do, and others are like, well, I'm kind of in between, because it sounds like this could be a real thing, or this could be some imagination. This could be some schizophrenia, some type of mental health issues going on with this person who is telling us that they are constantly hearing these noises, or that they constantly hear voices. It's a lot of people out here who hear voices, and they are looked at as schizophrenics. But what people don't realize is, don't you know you hear voices out of your phone every time you pick up the phone and you play a video? You hear the voices that come out of it. And that's not the same as schizophrenic. So that's how it is with the Havana syndrome. It's not the same as schizophrenic. It's not the same as tendinitis. It's not just another illness that, that we naturally may have a care. But this is induced. This is brought on by man-made weapons of destruction. And this is what's going to take over within the next, I don't even give it 10 years. I say within the next 5 years, there's going to be so many disabled people. And I would say, and this ain't a prediction, y'all. This is no prediction or anything like that. This is, I would say, this is a warning before destruction. That's what I would say this is. Because what I'm seeing and what I'm going through right now with the gang stalking and the community mobbing and, the destruction of the home, property, and my health, what I'm seeing is that I'm not the only one going through this. Even the people that are carrying out these assignments, they are going through it as well. And this is how you're training, you're programmed, and if you don't know better, you don't even know that this is happening. So let me go ahead and read what the Havana syndrome is. And then we're going to come back to this other article that I found on the Havana syndrome. And I'm talking about it because I'll say that for me, it's been hard. It takes away from life. You can't go nowhere without it. And it becomes part of your daily living. And adjusting to it, there's no such thing as adjusting to what's going on in the head and the mind when it comes down to Havana syndrome. I'm telling my story because I want to get it out there while it's in my head, while it's fresher in my head, and I do have a right mind. So that's why I speak on it now. Because with this type of syndrome, by it being induced by people, I don't know the damage that it has for long term. I don't know what kind of damage will be done because of it. So that's why if it comes to my heart and my mind and I'm led to speak on it, then I will. If I'm not led to speak on it, then I'll just be like, you know what? That's not something I should be talking about, because to even speak on such government policies and affairs like this, it becomes very dangerous. It does. Excuse me, y'all. Okay. So I know y'all hear me breathing. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, y'all. I can't help it. I'm sorry. Let's go over this. Okay. Now, this new article just came out March the 18th, 2024. And it says, people with Havana syndrome, this is what it's titled, show no brain damage or medical illness. That's good to hear. And this is my first time reading this article, so I guess I'm going to commentary as I go. The largest and most comprehensive studies of Havana syndrome point to stress or group psychology as likely explanations for most anomalous health incidents. Hundreds of Cubans and visitors from other countries gather across the street from the newly reopened U.S. Embassy to observe the flag-raising ceremony August 14, 2015 in Havana, Cuba. That is a picture that they're showing. In late 2016, U.S. diplomats and family members based in Cuba began reporting a wide swath of neurological symptoms, including dizziness, headaches, deafness, and difficulty concentrating following exposure to ear-splitting noises around their homes. This Havana syndrome outbreak disrupted U.S. relations with Cuba, spawned congressional hearings on the attacks, and left some people with years of disabling symptoms. Now, let's go back to what they said the Havana syndrome symptoms are. Neurological symptoms, which, if y'all remember, in 2021, I started going through that a lot. Even in 2022, it got where I had no controlled movement of the right leg and could not lift it up and down. And I had to do therapy physical therapy for 13 weeks. And as a result of it, I now still walk with a cane and I'm off balance. And I hear the noises 24/7. Now, for a small moment, the noises went away when I left from home. But then, if you are around people who have the equipment to set that noise off, then that noise comes back. It doesn't leave. There's always someone somewhere with the button to push or whatever it is they do to put that noise back in the ear. It's not a normal noise. It's not. I know what tendonitis is. I had it long time ago. Years ago. So I know what that is. But this noise right here, it's a pulsing noise. Okay, let me be quiet. I'm going to tell you what I'm hearing exactly right now in real time. Besides that motorcycle that's so loud on the highway. I hear like, it's like a noise like that's in rhythm. That noise, it stays constant. It don't stop. It's like a machine. It's like a machine in my ear saying, boom, boom, boom. And on the other hand, the noise I hear is like a low frequency vibe that is it's constant. It doesn't stop. Now, sometimes depending on where I'm sitting at or how I move, the machine sounding noise will stop. But the other noise, it doesn't stop at all. And it sounds like a bunch of glass. You know how a glass sounds when it's tinging together? That's what it sounds like. Except for it's not high. It's not a high-pitched noise. It's low. But it's enough to disturb my rest. It's enough to disturb my concentration. It's hard to concentrate on things. Even with running these podcasts and my radio station, it's like, okay, you finna hear one of the sounds come back up now because my refrigerator has been hooked up to have the same sound. So you're going to hear that sound in the background. You hear it? That's what it sounds like out loud. In my ear, it probably sounds like it's probably like about 4 decibels quieter. But it's constant. It's consistent. It doesn't stop like the refrigerator. The refrigerator will stop and go off. But this noise in my ear, it doesn't stop. It makes me dizzy. Sometimes I can hear, sometimes I can't hear. And my ears stay congested like all the time. And it's just really difficult. And I'll tell you something else that it causes. Depending on what the frequency is turned up to, it could cause like brain chills. Like chills will go from the top of my head to my feet, through my legs, through my arms. Anywhere there are nerves, those nerves will turn extremely cold, and sometimes, depending on if they have the lasers on, I'll get extremely hot. And I remember one year I did not even need any cover at all, because they kept that machine on me for so long that my body stayed hot. I thought I was in menopause, but I wasn't in menopause. What it was I was being tortured with what they have called a microwave weapon machine. That supposedly only the army and, military have, but, civilians, you got the money, you can get it. All right, so that's what happened with the diplomats and their family members in Cuba. There was, let me read that again, in late 2016, U.S. diplomats and family members based in Cuba began reporting a wide swath of neurological symptoms, including dizziness, headaches, deafness, and difficulty concentrating following exposure to ear-splitting noises around their homes. And I do believe this noise is coming from the outside of my home. I do believe that. It's not, now that one, the noise you hear now in the background, that's coming from in here. But those other noises, they're coming from outside somewhere. Somewhere there is something hooked up, and it's aimed directly at my home, and it just goes off 24/7. And it's irritating, it's painful, and it makes me sick. And it determines if I get up for the day or if I sleep for 12, 13 hours. These noises can knock you out. Who needs a date rape drug when they can turn on this little noise, and this noise is enough to mess with your neurological nerves, and they can put you to sleep. They can wake you up when they want to with it, and they can put you to sleep. We're just learning. We're just talking, y'all. I'm not doing this trying to get nobody in trouble or anything. We're just talking now. My days of trying to prove things to people are over. This is strictly for entertainment or, educational purposes only. I'm not trying to prove anything on anybody. I'm just sharing what I go through on a daily basis and have been going through the last 3-4 years, and just didn't realize that's what it was. All right, so where am I? This Havana syndrome outbreak disrupted U.S. relations with Cuba, spawned congressional hearings on the attacks, and left some people with years of disabling symptoms. Reports from people with these symptoms also occurred in other countries, and the U.S. government labeled these cases as anomalous health incidents. Abbreviation for that is AHIs. The abrupt onset of these symptoms led to years of debate among scientists and those affected about possible causes, which ranged from pesticides to group psychology to noise from crickets. Now, you know what though? Being that they said that, that's what I first heard was the cricket sounds. And it was lots of, I'm not talking like no one or two. I heard like the noises it was fieldfuls. Okay, and pesticides, I always smell chemicals. I always smell them. I'm sensitive, so by me having sensitive skin, smell, taste, and touch, when it hits me, I'm hit. I'm down. And that's why a lot of times people don't see me out anymore, because it's hard to, I'm going to try to break through it though. It's hard to, it's not keep myself together, but, it's just that I get sick. And once I get sick, nobody's going to know what to do for me. And the ones that do know, they're going to deny it. There's no doctor around here who's going to say, oh yeah, she's got Havana syndrome. Because if that doctor puts that down on their paperwork, they're going to get in trouble. So they're not going to say that's what it is. They're going to call it tendinitis. And for my safety, that's what I'm going to call it too. I'm just going to agree with them. Tendinitis it is. What would you do for tendinitis? See if that works. Okay. Let me keep reading here. Okay. So as I'm reading, the noises is hitting me really hard right now too. And I'm having to like turn my head sideways so that the throbbing would kind of ease down a little bit so I can concentrate on what I'm reading. Okay, let's see. The crickets. We was at the crickets. Now, 2 medical studies that were conducted by the National Institutes of Health and released on Monday morning might finally have an answer. Oh, I hope there's an answer. Oh, please let there be an answer. The researchers compared more than 80 of these affected individuals with similar healthy people. The results detailed in the Journal of the American Medical Association show no clinical signs or brain image indications to explain those widely varied symptoms. The JAMA findings followed the 2023 release of an intelligence community assessment that found that the injuries were not the result of foreign attacks. More likely, the assessment suggested they were tied to previous injuries, stress, environmental concerns, and social factors such as group psychology, in which illness symptoms reported by one individual in a community can spread serially among its members. What? I don't believe that. Such outbreaks have been seen everywhere from hiccuping in high schools to repetition strain cases among Australian typists in the 1980s. I don't think this article is kind of going the way I would like because I know there is a thing as the copycat spirit. There is that thing that does go on. But this pain here, now, this pain is daily. This pain is like, it run your blood pressure up, everything. It's daily. I ain't been around nobody to copy what they got. Okay, these individuals have real symptoms and are going through a very tough time, said NIH rehabilitation medicine expert Lathan Chan, who led one of these studies at a briefing for reporters last Friday. Well, y'all know they got to cover themselves. Nothing in the new medical findings contradicts the assessment of the injuries in the intelligence community report, he said. In the first study led by Chan, investigators examined 86 people with AHIs, 42 women and 44 men, who last experienced an incident 76 days prior on average. The participants were U.S. government staff and family members who had been in locations that included parts of Cuba, China, and Australia, as well as the U.S. All of these areas were past sites of Havana syndrome outbreak reports. A third of these affected participants were unable to work because of their symptoms. According to Chan, a few of these cases dated to 2015, which was prior to the previous reported cases in Cuba. Clinical tests for hearing, balance, cognition, balance. See, this is another thing it does too. It throws any, like, you try to read words, like, all that is through all. I'm trying to think. This word is cognition. Yeah. It really throws me off a lot, y'all. Okay, let's get back to it, though. Cognition, eyesight, and blood work were matched against the results from 30 people with similar working backgrounds but no symptoms. The researchers found that the only significant differences between the two groups were increased self-reported symptoms of fatigue, stress, and depression in people with AHIS, as well as self-reported trouble with balancing that was confirmed through testing. Well, I'll tell you this. Fatigue, yes, fatigue. I've been tired since 2021. I have yet to recover my strength, but I do take it. What do I mean by that? I take it. On days when I catch my brain off guard from thinking, or overthinking on, the things that are happening, or, overthinking on the sicknesses that I'm going through, I catch my brain off guard and I go do something different from what my brain is thinking. Whatever my brain is thinking, I'll go do something different. And that'll help me get things done. That'll help me to get up. But fatigue is a big thing. I stay tired. I'm always tired. Now, there is one way that I do finally get to sleep. I can't tell y'all what that way is, because I don't even think that is a good way to say to do things. But there is one way. I have to disrupt my neurons, or whatever it's called. I have to disrupt everything. It's like I have to reset myself just to get to sleep. And that reset process is a process that I am not proud of. And I pray to hopefully find another way to do it without having to do that. I mean, because it's like, okay. And I don't think I'm stressed out right now. I'm not in no type of depressions going on. None of that. But I'm finding that this article is kind of missing the point. The point is, people are doing things that cause these symptoms to come on, which means if people are doing it, then they have a switch. If they cut it off, it'll all go away and the body will start to heal itself. You see? If they stop what they're doing, then the body will begin to heal itself. But as long as they're doing what they're doing, the body is going to remain under constant stress, whether I'm stressing about them or not. It's just the sound alone is going to cause my body to stress. And I hate that. And I don't know no other way to stop my body from stressing, because it's just, as soon as that sound starts, that's what my body knows to do. So I'm in the process of trying to figure out some things that may work for my body. I know what that noise sounds like now. It just hit my ear again. You ever been up underwater, and underwater you have this water sound in your ear? And it's just like the ocean moving, like that. That's what it sounds like. That's a constant sound. All right, let's keep going. Likewise, in a second study that looked at brain imaging in 81 of the same participants compared with 48 controls, investigators led by Carlo Paola of the NIH, National Institute of Biomedical Imaging and Bioengineering, found no significant differences in imaging measures of brain structure or function among the two groups. The findings are consistent regardless of where the cases originated. Balance problems were the most pronounced complaint among the participants with AHIs. They were seen during tests in more than a quarter of those affected by the syndrome. I got that, y'all. I still have balance problems. I had to buy a cane. I left my cane here when we went to the beach, and that was the first thing that we had to do, is stop by a place and buy a cane. Okay. These cases of persistent postural perceptual dizziness point to a brain function disorder that the NIH researchers say could be linked to either external injuries or psychological distress. Now that is the question. Is this a combination of external injuries and psychological distress? Which one is it? Or is it both? And that's what they try to find out. But the truth is, the answer is, it's not an injury. It's a person. It's a person that does this to people for a living. It's an experiment. So that when we go to war, when they want to shut our opponents down, they know what to do. But they got to experiment on real people. And that real people is us. Those of us whose name have been put on the list as troublemakers or blacklisted, however you want to say it, we are the guinea pigs. And we get the psychological distress, and we get the external injuries too. But if they cut it off within 24 hours, the body will begin to heal itself. See, our bodies are made to heal itself. And they know that. That's the brain will begin to create new ways of surviving. They know that. And that's why they have to keep the consistent pressure. Without consistent pressure, as I'm talking now, I'm getting the cold chills and the brain wave up in my head, and I'm having to grab my head because I know they probably turned it up higher because I'm talking about it. But I love to talk about science. It ain't got nothing to do with them. I just love talking about science and things. I love, this is like the nature call. This is natural for me to talk about things of this nature. If they turn off what they're doing, my brain will begin to heal itself. I would say within even the first 15 minutes of being without it. Because I can tell when they have not charged up their batteries or whatever it is they use, and it does go off, within those first like 5 minutes, it makes a difference. Yeah, let me see. It makes a difference. It makes a difference, and I begin to feel better, and I even begin to see better, and it's like I become normal for those 5-10 minutes. But then when it comes back on, my brain goes back into what it knows to do to survive it. Okay, so notably, these imaging findings contradict 2018 JAMA study, which is widely reported in the news with some scientific controversy, and found signs of concussion and possible brain injuries in a few people with Havana syndrome. I believe that they have brain injuries. I do believe that. I know my brain has an injury. But, and some of it too, I think the biggest injury for me happened in 2019 when the PTSD came. I know my brain went through something. And it's like, I'm not on the outside looking. I'm living this. And I feel sorry for my brain because I know if people was to stop bothering me, I know I could lose the weight that I need to lose. I know that my body would not be tired. I wouldn't have all this fatigue. I know that I wouldn't have the dizziness, the off balance. I know I wouldn't have the sounds in my ear. I could get my 8 to 10 hours of rest if people would cut off the machines. But unfortunately, I do believe too that once you have been, you have been beat up and tortured with this type of method, I do believe that the brain does take some type of damage, and it has to have time to heal. And just like narcissistic abuse, you don't have to be hitting your head with a hammer or, somebody fighting on you for you to have brain damage. You could be manipulated so much until your brain becomes damaged. That's what I believe. Y'all hold up a minute. Let me see here. I need to send a text message. Y'all give me just a second. Yeah, I do believe that. All right, so let's keep going. Concussion and possible brain injuries in a few people. Y'all, let me take this call, and hopefully it'll let me back on. Testing 3. I'm back. I hope that it still continues to record me. I'm not sure that it will. Every time I come on here, all of a sudden somebody calls. Every time. I be here all day long. Don't nobody call me or nothing. Then as soon as I get on here, that's when everybody want to start calling. I'm not stupid. I know what the deal is. So y'all got to read between the lines. Like I be telling y'all. I'm not stupid. Every one of the cameras I got in here, I'm going to get rid of these cameras soon because these cameras are letting these people know too much of my life. If they want to watch me, they're going to have to watch me on their own time, their own dime, not mine. I'm going to end up getting rid of these cameras. Okay, let's keep reading. That just pisses me off though, y'all. I mean, I'm here all day long and you wait till I get on live to want to call me and stuff. That's stupid. If y'all knew how stupid my family being right now, you'd understand why I'm upset about a lot of things. And I hate when they bring my granddaughters into this kind of stuff like this because they're kids. They shouldn't have to be part of their evil devilment. Okay, let me keep reading though, y'all. And yes, I'm upset. You probably can hear it in my voice. Good. Because I am upset. Okay, let's see. With some found signs of concussion and possible brain injuries in a few people with Havana syndrome. The NIH studies relied on advanced magnetic resonance imaging scanners used only in research, which likely showed a more accurate picture of any false positive. Y'all, my head is starting to hurt, so I don't know if I'm gonna be able to finish this. Basically the same background as those with Havana syndrome. In the new study, researchers compared affected people with more representative individuals without Havana syndrome. The fact that the new studies found no discernible brain or clinical differences between affected and healthy participants should be some reassurance to the patients. It is reassuring to hear that on one hand, and then on the other hand, the patients know what they deal with. We know what we're going through. We know the sounds that are in our head and, the rest that we are losing out on. It's, just because you go through something don't mean you're stupid. We know all that. We want to know what can be done to stop it. Because right now, I've been to an ear, nose, and throat doctor. I've been there. I've been to my regular doctor. I've been to a doctor, a heart doctor, all of these doctors that I'm constantly going to. I got so tired of doctors, y'all. I just stopped. I was like, Lord, what did I do? Do nothing. I've been feeling better ever since. Ever since I stopped and just do my regular doctor. That's it. Okay, so let me see what else is here. So they said it should be reassurance, said neurologist Louis French of Walter Reed National Military Medical Center. I told y'all this was military, didn't I? Yup. Which is where many patients with AHIs have been treated and is near the NIH headquarters during the press briefing. This will allow us to focus on the here and now of getting back to where they should be. People who were told by trusted authorities that they suffered brain damage from a secret weapon will likely dismiss the NIH report as a government cover-up, says University of Maryland neuroscientist Douglas Fields. I still believe it's a government cover-up. It is, however, an excellent scientific study with conclusions that are well supported by data, and the study will be viewed as highly credible by scientists. I don't believe they put everything in this study. I'm trying to see if it says what to do for it. Type of investigation, 2 new studies. Misleading findings. He noted that the results do leave open the possibility of some external cause, such as pulsed microwaves. That's what I said. Because I feel the pulsing. You can feel it. It's like boom, boom, boom. Okay, the pulsing is hooked to your heart. That's what I believe. I believe it's hooked to my heart because the rhythm that's in my ear is the same rhythm that I can get when I take my pulse. When that rhythm goes faint, my heart rate drops low. It goes faint. When my heart rate's in the 40s, it's low. So I wonder what let's see, do I have my pocketbook in here? I don't have it in here. Dang. I was going to see what my heart rate was right now, but I don't even have a pocketbook in here because this is really loud right now in my ear. But I do believe that it's pulse microwaves suggested in a 2020 National Academics of Science, Engineering, and Medicine report having triggered injuries that then healed and left no signs before any of the clinical tests or brain scans were undertaken. Some of the affected participants were seen as soon as 14 days after the incidents. Pierre Paola said and showed no signs of differences with healthy controls. I suspect that what we are seeing in leaving the door ajar to the possibility to more exotic explanations has less to do with the inability to understand psychologically induced symptoms. What I have said, y'all, I said they were induced. And this was my first time reading this article. Induced symptoms and more with wanting to embarrass colleagues, says medical sociologist Robert Bartholomew, co-author of Havana Syndrome, Mass Psychogenic Illness and the Real Story Behind the Embassy Mystery and Hysteria. Bartholomew suggests the cases sprouted in classic mass psychology fashion where high-status individuals, intelligent personnel, in a stressful environment. The U.S. Embassy in Cuba reported symptoms leading to alarm spreading to the wider community, embassies worldwide. In this scenario, an outbreak of people suffering real psychological injuries resulted. Clearly, the NIH study points to the role of conventional health issues in a population experiencing extraordinary stress. Bartholomew says it's time to put this episode behind us and heed the lessons and move on. I don't think you can put that behind you. And I'm going to tell you why. Because if they got microwave weapons out here that are that strong to disable American citizens, y'all, I'm sorry, y'all hear my lift chair, I'm leaning back. If they have weapons out here that strong that disable their own citizens, own American citizens, just imagine what's going to happen when these weapons are in the hands of the crooks, the criminals. What are they going to do with them? In the wrong hands, they could shut a whole police department down. Because this what I have now, it shuts me down. I went from being active to now I barely can move. And in my mind, I know that's not who I am. I know I'm better than that. I know I want better than this. But it's like being stuck. Okay. Mark said is an attorney who represents more than 24 current and past federal officials, as well as family members with Havana syndrome who are seeking medical treatment at Walter Reed. He questions the ethics of the NIH testing process, saying partition was seen as a requirement for treatment. Chan strongly disputed this suggestion in briefings, said voices concerns that the results would be used to wrongly dismiss Havana syndrome injuries. The government is knowingly weaponizing the lack of science that existed in this area and intentionally hiding behind the classification wall, where much of the evidence that contradicts the results exists, he says. In 2017, when word of Havana syndrome first broke, news reports widely suggested that sonic weapons had played a role. A year later, news outlets replaced this claimed potential cause with microwave weapons. Then by 2019, they suggested that pulsed microwaves explained the injuries, and the Nazism report later judged that idea as the most plausible cause late that year. Unknown to that, reporters, writers, a 2018 U.S. Department of State-sponsored technical report conducted by a highly regarded technical group called Jason, which was only declassified later, had already cast doubt on the theory that the injuries were caused by any kind of electromagnetic effect. Crickets likely explain the incident noises. It suggests, oh my God, they are so gaslighting. Those doubts also appeared in a 2022 follow-on report for the same. Y'all, I say that they are gaslighting because they don't want to be responsible for what's going on. They don't want people to know that they have these weapons out there, but they're still going to use these weapons on American citizens. I am one of the 280,000 that have been, unfortunately, have these weapons used on me. These weapons are fully active right now at my home. I couldn't get a police officer to walk in this house if you paid them $1,000 or $10,000. They would not walk in here because they know the strength of the magnetic field that's around me. They know what it's for. And just like a microwave does, a microwave cooks food from the inside out. What do you think the microwave weapons are doing to people like me? This is why we're drained. This is why our eyes are red all the time. This is why we don't have energy to do anything, or we don't have full concentration when people are talking to us, because we are being cooked from the inside out. This is why we continuously have health issues. Okay, and I may just read just a little more of this, and that's it. Okay. In the editorial, he calls for surveillance systems designed to rapidly detect early cases and clusters of concern. In the press event, Chan expressed, I don't like this Chan guy, concern that such surveillance might worsen symptoms in diplomats and intelligence personnel who are already under stress and trigger more persistent postural, perceptual dizziness, cases where psychological distress plays a part in the malady. He noted that some affected people were from intelligence ages, which makes communication about their circumstances trickier. Regarding Chan's concern, I think Chan was hired by somebody who was playing dirty to actually write up this fake report, because this is a real thing. I think a surveillance system, they just try not to alert the public like that, but it's a real thing. I think a surveillance system of the sort I described is a good idea. That article almost put me to sleep. Okay, let's go on. The possibility of attack by microwaves still gives me pause, he added. The technology exists to give someone a frightening but not acute damaging experience by inducing mechanical disturbances to the vascular system using pulse microwaves or laser light. What? You must not have seen my bruises, because when they first put me in this program, I went through a psychological torture, and still am, but it was worse when I first entered into it and found out that I was in this. I went through a what do you call it? Different phases. It's different phases that they put you through, and I believe that's part of the testing that they do on you to see what you can stand and what you can't stand. Whatever they're ordered to do, that's what they do, and they monitor you. They watch you 24/7 to see how you respond to everything that they do to you. And my responses aren't always good because it hurts. It's torture. It's draining. It's not what you should be doing to human people. I wouldn't even do it to animals. Okay. But the microwave attacks are very real. And so is the lasering. Very real. The lasers can come straight through the walls. You can't hide from it. That's why I just stopped. I was wasting more energy and time trying to hide from what was going on and, try to hide from the hits. And I made it worse for myself. And I was, causing myself to have more anxiety by trying to hide from it. But now I just I embrace where I'm at in life. And I just pray that one day it stops. And all I can do is try to live as much as I can live. And, just sometimes have to take pain medications and aspirins and things like that. I just try to keep myself up. But as far as hiding from it, you can't hide from it because you got to go in public. And they're in public waiting on you just as much as they are waiting on you to go home. In fact, it's been sometimes in public, it was worse than being at home. So it just depends on who's doing what and what they're told to do. All right, let's see. Bartholomew is more skeptical. They have essentially said, we have not found any compelling evidence for Bigfoot. But of course, Bigfoot could be there. We just didn't see it, he says. Well, I'm with Bartholomew. I mean, it's something going on. Even if it's not what we're saying is going on, it's something going on that's similar to it. Because it works with every part of your body, your mind, your brain, even your writing. One of the things I noticed about my writing was that I got where I was writing backward sentences. Whatever I was thinking was not what I wrote. And then when I go back and read my Facebook posts, I'd be like, what the world? Let me go change that. And I would have to change it. Because it wouldn't make sense when I read it back. But yeah, that article put me to sleep, y'all. I hope I did not put y'all to sleep. But it was just something to talk about while we were waiting on this chicken to get done. I don't know what it is. I know I get the pulse in my ear. I know that it's just a constant ringing of bells in my ear. And every once in a while, I pick up a frequency like somebody may speak to me or, because this one time, as a matter of fact, let me tell y'all about this one time before my keys went missing. I talked to a certain person in my inbox and I got called stupid for talking to that person. They were like, you talking to this stupid guy again? The person that was monitoring me, they called me stupid because I talked to the guy in the inbox. And me and the guy in the inbox were talking about how we might get up and hang out for a little bit. And that's when my keys went missing. My keys been missing ever since then, November. And they do all kind of weird stuff to you to see, what your response is to it, how you handle it. Like I did my hair. My hair now is like my braids are almost loose. I got whole braids that don't even have no hair weave on it. I've got, you would have to see it to believe what I'm saying. But anyways, if I'm mental, let me be mental. if this is what mental illness is, then I think we're going to have to go back to the drawing board on what mental illness is, because I wouldn't say there's a lot of people like this, but according to what I've heard a certain person say, there's a whole system of us out there in this county. In this county right here, Montgomery County, I was told, well, I wasn't told, but I overheard the people talking, that there was a whole system of us out here. And it's certain people who have to do what they are told to keep us to not draw attention to them. That's the best way I can say that without, putting certain people and putting their names out there. But they have to do what they're told to do. They have to service not only us, but they have to service first responders too. And they have to be serviced. So it's not just a matter of fact of only me being hit, but they are no better than I am. The only difference between me and them is they get paid for it, and I get volunteered for something I didn't volunteer for. That's the only difference between me and them. They get to monitor everything that goes on with my health and my finances, my home. Every part of my life is on display. And their life is too. See, because they're getting fed up with having to be the bad guy when they know that's not what they really signed up for. They didn't sign up for it, but they did sign up for it. They thought they were signing up for these programs to help people out, or, to bring extra funding to their organizations, and come to find out they were signing up for something that takes life from people. And they've got to reap what they sow on that. I heard the guy when he said they're part of a system. I heard the guy when he said that there were certain people that are, I'm just going to say, part of the system. I heard him, and he said, when we get people in here that's from the system, what we do is we just give them a little bit of something to keep them, satisfied, and we let them go. We don't try to save them. We don't try to warn them of, if you got heart disease or if you got cancer. We don't try to tell them that. No. We're instructed to just, if they don't know it themselves, then, you just let them go until one day they kick over. Do that scare y'all? Ooh, that water good. It's a scary situation, but it's a real serious situation. I've seen the elderly, out of all the elderly, they definitely get hit hard. Obese people get hit hard. I'm going to say not just the obese, but anybody that has a health condition. Disabled people, obese, widows, single women, even women that can have children, they get hit hard too. They become part of this system, and this system is to keep bringing money into these counties. Because if y'all notice, over the last 20 years, there's been a whole lot of pop-up programs out here that just do not help nobody but themselves. The program will pop up for about 2 years, some even less than that. And the next thing you know, you never hear tell of the program again. And then you got some programs that'll last for 5-10 years, and the whole time they never serve nobody but themselves. All of this works in together. It's environment, it's social life, it's socializing. It's all together. And it's a lot of people out there that know what's happening. But they can't say anything, even if they don't agree with it. They can't say nothing about it. That's just like me. I don't agree with it, but there's only so much I'm going to say about it too, because I'm not going to just keep saying something about it and me getting hurt, because every word that comes out of my mouth, they catch. And I'm not trying to be hurt like that, because when they hurt you. They hurt you. I've been hurt. I've been hurt. I'm trying to recover off the fact that, I can't even stop somebody from touching my body. I can't stop somebody from taking my hair out my head. I can't stop them. I can pray about it for my peace of mind, but for me to physically just grab them by the hand and say, no, leave my hair alone, I haven't had that opportunity. Well, y'all, it's been an hour, and if we're going to talk some more on this, we're going to have to, get off of here and then come back on. All right. Peace, love, and happiness.